There's something about the way a woman can make a man feel that changes everything. It's not just about beauty, charm, or even love itself. It's about the way she makes him feel like a man. Strong, needed, valued, and deeply understood. A man doesn't just fall for a woman because she's there. He falls for her because in her presence he feels something he can't find anywhere else. A man falls for a woman who makes him feel strong, needed, and valued because at his core, he desires to be a protector, a provider, and a force of stability in someone's life. It's not just about physical strength or financial success. It's about feeling like he has a purpose, like he is contributing to something bigger than himself. When a woman makes a man feel strong, she is not simply feeding his ego. She is fueling his spirit, giving him the motivation to rise above challenges and be the best version of himself. A man wants to feel needed, not in a way that makes him feel like he is carrying a burden, but in a way that assures him that his presence, his actions, and his efforts genuinely make a difference. He wants to know that when he fixes something, offers advice, or protects the woman he loves, it is not just noticed, but deeply appreciated. A woman who leans into his strength, who trusts him to take the lead when necessary, who allows him to step in when things get tough, she makes him feel like he has a role that matters. And that feeling is irreplaceable. Men are not drawn to women who make them feel disposable or insignificant. If a woman constantly acts like she doesn't need him, like his presence is optional, he will start to withdraw. Not because he is weak or insecure, but because he wants to be where he is truly valued. The most powerful thing a woman can do is to make a man feel like his efforts, no matter how small, are recognized. A simple thank you when he opens the door, a genuine smile when he offers help, an acknowledgement of the way he supports and protects. It's these little things that build a deep emotional connection. Beyond physical strength, men want to feel emotionally strong in a relationship. A woman who believes in him, who supports his dreams, who tells him she knows he is capable even when he doubts himself, that woman becomes irreplaceable. She becomes the voice in his head when he's struggling, the reason he keeps going when the world weighs him down. When a woman makes a man feel like he is a champion in her eyes, he will move mountains to live up to that image. It's also about emotional security. A man who feels valued doesn't fear losing his place in a woman's life. He doesn't feel like he constantly has to prove himself or compete for her attention. Instead, he feels safe, respected, and trusted. That kind of feeling makes a man open up, makes him give more, makes him commit with his whole heart. When a woman truly sees a man for who he is, not just for what he can do for her, but for the depth of his character, his ambitions, his struggles, and his victories, she becomes the one person he never wants to be without. It's in the way she listens when he speaks, the way she encourages him when he's down, the way she lets him take care of her without making him feel like it's a chore. That's the kind of woman a man will protect, provide for, and cherish, because she makes him feel like the strongest, most valuable man in the world. The way a woman looks at a man and trusts him has a power that goes beyond words. A man can spend his whole life chasing success, strength, and respect from the world, but if the woman he loves doesn't believe in him, it can shake him to his core. When a woman looks at a man with admiration, like he is someone worth believing in, it changes the way he sees himself. It makes him feel like he is capable of anything, like he is unstoppable, like he has a reason to fight harder every day. A man doesn't just want to be loved, he wants to be believed in. The way she looks at him when he speaks, when he shares his ideas, when he expresses his ambitions, it tells him everything. A woman's eyes can either fill a man with confidence or strip him of it. If she looks at him with doubt, like she doesn't trust his decisions or think he's capable of leading, he will start to feel small, unworthy, and unmotivated. But if she looks at him like he is strong, like she trusts his judgment, like she believes in his ability to handle things, he will step into that role fully. Trust is the foundation of a man's confidence. A woman who constantly questions his ability, second guesses his choices, or tries to control everything sends a message that she doesn't truly believe in him. And when a man feels like his woman doesn't trust him, he starts to shut down. He pulls away not because he doesn't love her, but because he feels like he has lost the role he was meant to play in her life. A woman who trusts her man knows how to let go of unnecessary control. She doesn't micromanage his every move. doesn't treat him like a child who needs supervision, and doesn't assume he will fail before he even tries. She lets him make decisions, and even if he makes mistakes, she doesn't use them as weapons against him. Instead, she reassures him that she's by his side, that she knows he will figure it out, that she sees his strength even when he doesn't. That kind of trust makes a man want to prove himself. It fuels him, drives him, and makes him want to be the best man he can be, not just for himself, but for the woman who sees the greatness in him. The way a woman trusts a man also affects how deeply he opens up to her. A man will only be vulnerable with a woman who makes him feel safe. If he feels like he can't express himself without being judged, criticized, or ridiculed, he will start to withhold parts of himself. But if he knows that his woman trusts his heart, that she won't assume the worst of him, that she believes in his good intentions even when he falls short, then he will give her a level of honesty and emotional connection that no one else gets. Trust is also about allowing a man to lead in the relationship, not in a way that takes away a woman's independence, but in a way that allows him to step fully into his masculine energy. A woman who trusts her man lets him take charge sometimes, lets him make decisions without questioning every little detail, and allows him to protect and provide without feeling like she has to prove she can do it all on her own. A man doesn't want a woman who needs him in a desperate way. He wants a woman who chooses to let him be there for her. And that's the magic of trust. When a man feels it, he rises to the occasion. He stands taller, works harder, and becomes more devoted. He sees the faith she has in him and does everything in his power to live up to it. But when a man doesn't feel trusted, when he feels like no matter what he does, it will never be enough, he starts to withdraw. Not because he doesn't care, but because deep down, every man wants to be someone's hero. And without trust, that hero inside him starts to fade. A woman who respects a man will always have his devotion, because for a man, respect is not just a word, it is the foundation of how he experiences love. While a woman wants to feel cherished, adored, and deeply connected, a man wants to feel valued, honored, and significant. Love without respect feels empty to a man. He may still care, but if he senses that the woman he loves does not respect him, something inside him will begin to withdraw. Respect to a man is not just about the big things. It's in the way she talks to him, the way she listens, and the way she acknowledges his efforts. It's in the way she doesn't mock him, belittle his dreams, or make him feel small in front of others. A man can handle criticism from the world, but if the one person he's given his heart to speaks down to him, it cuts deeper than anything else. A woman's words have the power to either build a man up or break him down. When she speaks to him with appreciation, gratitude, and admiration, he feels like he can take on anything. But when she constantly criticizes, complains, or dismisses him, he begins to feel like he is failing, no matter what he does. Men also feel respect through actions. A woman who trusts his decisions, who doesn't constantly question his judgment, shows him that she believes in his ability to lead. It doesn't mean she has to agree with everything he says, but there is a way to express disagreement without making a man feel like he is being challenged at every turn. A woman who respects a man knows how to communicate in a way that still makes him feel like his opinions, thoughts, and choices hold weight. One of the biggest mistakes a woman can make is to compare her man to others, whether it's a friend's boyfriend, a celebrity, or an ex. Nothing makes a man feel more disrespected than hearing that someone else is doing better than him. It's not about competition. It's about feeling like he is enough in his woman's eyes. If she constantly makes him feel like he's coming up short, eventually he will stop trying, not because he doesn't want to, but because no man wants to feel like he is fighting a losing battle. Respect also shows in the way a woman supports a man's ambitions. Men are wired to be providers and builders, always chasing a purpose, always striving for more. A woman who respects a man doesn't just tolerate his dreams, she encourages them. She doesn't roll her eyes when he talks about his goals. She listens. She asks questions. She believes in his ability to make things happen. A woman who makes a man feel like he is capable of greatness will see him rise to that greatness. But a woman who constantly doubts him, reminds him of his failures, or treats his dreams as unrealistic will only make him feel like giving up. A man also feels respect when a woman values his role in her life. If she acts like she doesn't need him, like he is replaceable, or like his efforts don't really matter, he will eventually pull away. Not because he's weak, but because no man wants to stay where he isn't valued. A woman who respects her man makes it clear that she sees his worth. She appreciates the way he provides, the way he protects, the way he shows up for her. She doesn't take his efforts for granted, and because of that, he feels a deeper level of connection and loyalty to her. At the end of the day, respect is what makes a man feel like a man. It gives him confidence, purpose, and the drive to be better. A woman who understands this will never have to chase a man, because when he feels truly respected, he will give his all without hesitation. Men crave a peaceful woman who makes life easier, not harder. The world is already filled with enough battles, pressure at work, responsibilities, expectations, and the constant need to prove himself. The last thing a man wants is to come home to a war zone. He longs for a woman who brings him a sense of calm, who makes him feel like no matter what storms he faces outside, with her he can breathe. A peaceful woman doesn't mean a woman who is silent or submissive. It means a woman who knows how to handle life with grace, who doesn't turn every small issue into a crisis, and who creates an environment where he can relax instead of constantly being on guard. A man doesn't want to feel like he has to defend himself at home the way he does in the outside world. If every conversation turns into a fight, if every mistake is met with blame, if he feels like he can never do anything right, he will start to withdraw, not because he doesn't care, but because he is exhausted. Men are naturally wired to protect and provide, but they also need space to recharge. A peaceful woman understands this. She doesn't demand his attention every second. She doesn't create unnecessary drama, and she doesn't make him feel like he has to walk on eggshells. She knows that a strong relationship isn't built on constant tension. It's built on understanding, patience, and the ability to let go of things that don't really matter. A peaceful woman knows how to bring lightness into a man's life. She laughs easily, she lets things go instead of holding grudges, and she doesn't pick fights just to get a reaction. She understands that men don't communicate the same way women do. While a woman might want to talk through every detail of a disagreement, a man often just wants space to cool off. A peaceful woman respects that. She doesn't chase him down in the middle of an argument. She doesn't punish him with silent treatment, and she doesn't make everything about winning or losing. She knows when to step back, when to speak up, and when to simply let things be. This kind of woman is a refuge. When a man is with her, he doesn't feel drained, he feels restored. She makes his life smoother, not more complicated. She encourages him, supports him, and brings a sense of warmth that makes him never want to leave. She doesn't mean she never disagrees or that she never has opinions, but she knows how to express herself in a way that brings clarity, not chaos. She talks to him, not at him. She listens as much as she speaks, and most importantly, she doesn't treat him like the enemy. A peaceful woman also knows how to pick her battles. She doesn't nag over things that don't truly matter. She understands that no man is perfect, just as she isn't perfect, and she focuses on the bigger picture rather than getting caught up in small, petty issues. A man respects a woman who knows when to let things go and who doesn't drain his energy with constant complaints and negativity. A peaceful woman doesn't just make a man's life better, she makes him better. When a man is with a woman who brings him peace, he feels like he can take on the world. He is more focused, more driven, and more willing to open up emotionally because he knows he has someone by his side who isn't going to tear him down. She doesn't add to his stress. She helps him handle it. She doesn't bring unnecessary drama. She helps him escape from it. And because of that, she becomes his safe place, the one person he knows he can always count on. A woman who compliments a man's masculinity rather than competing with it deepens the bond in a way that creates an unbreakable connection. Men and women are meant to be different, not identical. Their strengths are supposed to balance each other, not battle against one another. When a woman understands this, she taps into something powerful. She allows the man to be fully in his masculine energy while embracing her own feminine energy, creating a natural harmony that draws them closer instead of pulling them apart. Men are naturally wired to lead, protect, and provide. They thrive when they feel like they can take charge, solve problems, and be the one their woman relies on. A woman who understands this doesn't try to outdo him in every situation. She doesn't feel the need to prove that she can do everything he can, nor does she undermine his abilities just to make a point. Instead, she allows him to step into his role while standing strong in her own. She knows that complementing his masculinity doesn't mean losing herself. It means enhancing the dynamic between them in a way that brings out the best in both of them. A woman who embraces her femininity without fear allows a man to fully embrace his masculinity. She doesn't compete with his strength, she invites it. She doesn't try to control everything, she trusts his leadership. She doesn't resist his desire to provide, she appreciates it. This doesn't mean she is weak or dependent. It means she understands that men have a deep need to be useful, to be needed, and to feel like they have a purpose in their woman's life. A man doesn't want to feel like he is in a constant power struggle with the woman he loves. If she challenges him at every turn, refuses to let him take the lead in any situation, or constantly tries to prove that she doesn't need him, he will eventually stop trying. Not because he doesn't love her, but because a man needs to feel like he has a place, a role, and a purpose in her life. If she makes it clear that she doesn't need him, he will start to wonder why he is there in the first place. This doesn't mean a woman should silence herself, hold back her opinions, or be anything less than strong. True strength in a woman isn't about being combative. It's about knowing when to stand her ground and when to let a man lead. It's about understanding that there is power in femininity, just as there is power in masculinity. When a woman knows how to soften in the right moments, how to let a man take care of her without feeling like she is giving up her independence, she creates a bond with him that is deeper than anything else. A woman who compliments a man's masculinity also knows how to bring out his softer side without forcing it. She doesn't demand vulnerability. She creates a space where he feels safe enough to be vulnerable. She doesn't pressure him to express emotions the way she does. She understands that men show love differently. She doesn't expect him to be like her. She appreciates him for who he is, and because of that, he opens up to her in ways he never would with anyone else. This kind of woman is rare. She knows her worth, but she doesn't feel the need to diminish a man's worth to prove it. She is strong in her own right, but she doesn't use that strength to push him away. Instead, she uses it to build him up, just as he builds her up. She understands that relationships are about balance, not competition. And because of that, a man will never want to let her go. A woman who appreciates a man's efforts, no matter how big or small, holds a special place in his heart, because appreciation is the fuel that keeps a man going. Men don't just want to be loved, they want to be valued. They want to feel like the things they do, whether it's holding the door open, fixing something, working long hours, or even just making sure she's safe, are recognized and respected. A man who feels unappreciated will eventually stop trying, not because he doesn't care, but because no man wants to feel like his efforts are going unnoticed, or worse, like they don't matter at all. A woman who shows appreciation makes a man feel like he has a purpose. When she acknowledges the little things he does, it reassures him that he is making a difference in her life. It's not about grand gestures or over-the-top praise. It's about the simple things, a genuine thank you, a smile when he does something thoughtful, or even just a look that says, I see what you did, and I love you for it. That kind of appreciation makes a man want to give more, do more, and be more for her. Men often express love through actions rather than words. A man may not always say how much he cares, but he will show it in the way he provides, protects, and takes care of the woman he loves. If a woman dismisses those actions, acts like they are expected, or constantly focuses on what he isn't doing instead of what he is, it sends a message that his efforts don't matter. Over time, this will wear on a man's spirit. He may not complain about it, but he will feel it deeply. He will start to wonder why he is even trying if nothing he does is enough. On the other hand, when a woman truly appreciates her man, he feels seen. He feels like his efforts are worth something, and because of that, he will move mountains for her. A man will give endlessly to a woman who makes him feel like a king, not because she demands it, but because she inspires it. Appreciation creates a cycle. When a man feels valued, he gives more, and when he gives more, the relationship grows stronger. A woman who appreciates a man also understands that he has his own struggles, pressures, and burdens. She doesn't just expect him to be strong all the time without acknowledging what he goes through. She recognizes when he's had a long day, when he's pushing himself to be better, and when he's doing everything he can to provide for their future. She doesn't take his sacrifices for granted. Instead of pointing out what he didn't do, she focuses on what he has done. Instead of comparing him to other men, she recognizes his unique qualities and the effort he puts into their relationship. This kind of woman creates a space where a man feels emotionally safe. He doesn't feel like he has to constantly prove himself, compete for her attention, or fight for her respect. He knows that when he gives, it will be received with gratitude, and when a man feels that level of appreciation, his love grows deeper. He sees her not just as a lover, but as his partner, someone who truly understands and values him. And that kind of bond is unshakable. A woman who believes in a man's potential has the power to transform his life in ways even he may not fully understand. Men are driven by purpose, by the desire to achieve, to build, to become something greater than they were yesterday. But even the strongest men have moments of doubt, times when they question themselves, when they wonder if they are truly capable of reaching their dreams. In those moments, the right woman can be the difference between a man who rises and a man who falls. When a woman believes in her man, she sees not just who he is today, but who he has the potential to become. She doesn't just love him for what he provides right now, she loves him for the greatness she knows he is capable of achieving. She speaks life into him. She reminds him of his strengths when he forgets them. She encourages him when he feels like giving up. And she stands by him even when the path ahead is uncertain. A man can face the world, take risks, and fight battles if he knows that the woman he loves believes in him. That belief fuels him, strengthens him, and pushes him to keep going even when things get tough. Men want to be heroes in their own story, but they also want to be heroes in the eyes of the woman they love. When a woman makes a man feel like he is capable of more, like he is meant for something greater, he will work tirelessly to prove her right, not because she demands it, but because her faith in him inspires him. A woman who believes in her man doesn't focus on his failures. She doesn't remind him of his past mistakes or constantly highlight what he hasn't done yet. Instead, she helps him see what is possible. She reminds him that setbacks are temporary, that struggles are just part of the journey, and that he is strong enough to overcome anything. She becomes a source of strength, not a voice of doubt. She doesn't tear him down with criticism, she lifts him up with belief. This kind of woman doesn't just offer empty words, she takes real action to show her support. She listens when he talks about his dreams, even if they seem far off. She encourages him to take risks when she knows they are necessary. She celebrates his victories no matter how small because she knows that every step forward is progress. And most importantly, she stays consistent. Her belief in him isn't conditional. It doesn't fade when things get difficult or when success takes longer than expected. A man who feels truly believed in will move mountains for the woman who sees his potential. He will push himself beyond his limits, take chances he never thought he could, and work harder than ever because he doesn't want to let her down, not out of fear, but out of love and respect. Her belief in him becomes a fire that keeps him going, a force that reminds him of what he is capable of even in his darkest moments. But when a man feels like the woman he loves doesn't believe in him, when she doubts him, constantly questions his decisions, or reminds him of his failures more than his strengths, he begins to lose confidence. He starts to shrink, to second-guess himself, to hold back from taking the risks necessary to grow. And over time, he may even begin to resent her, not because he doesn't love her, but because every man needs a partner who fuels his ambitions, not one who drains them. A woman who truly believes in a man's potential gives him a reason to keep going, to keep striving, to keep becoming better. She makes him feel like he is capable of achieving anything, and because of that, he will give her his heart, his loyalty, and his devotion in ways he never would for anyone else. A woman who makes a man feel like he is her hero, her protector, her safe place, taps into a deep and primal part of his nature. Men are wired to protect, to provide, to be a source of strength for the people they love. It's not just about physical protection, it's about emotional and mental security as well. A man wants to feel like he is needed, like his presence makes a difference, like he is the one she turns to when life gets difficult. When a woman makes him feel like her protector, she isn't feeding his ego, she's allowing him to step fully into his masculine nature, into the role that makes him feel most alive. This doesn't mean a woman has to be weak or helpless. In fact, the strongest women are often the ones who understand this the most. She may be independent, capable, and fully able to take care of herself, but she allows her man to take care of her too. She doesn't push him away when he offers help, doesn't act like she doesn't need him, doesn't make him feel like he is unnecessary in her life. Instead, she leans into his strength, trusts his guidance, and makes him feel like his presence brings her security. A man doesn't need to be a superhero, but he does need to feel like he is making a real difference in the life of the woman he loves. If she acts like she can do everything on her own, like she never needs his input, his support, or his protection, he will start to feel unneeded. And when a man feels unneeded, he begins to lose connection. He may love her, but without that deep sense of purpose in the relationship, he won't feel fully invested. A woman who understands this knows how to let a man be a man. She doesn't make him feel small when he opens doors for her, or pays for dinner, or offers to carry something heavy. She doesn't roll her eyes when he gives her advice or tries to solve a problem for her. She appreciates these gestures because she knows they come from a place of love, from a place of wanting to contribute to her life in a meaningful way. She also knows how to make him feel like her emotional protector. She trusts him with her feelings, opens up to him, and allows herself to be vulnerable in his presence. She doesn't shut him out, doesn't act like she has everything figured out all the time. She lets him see her fears, her struggles, her softer side, because she knows that men don't just want to protect physically, they want to protect emotionally too. When a man feels like he is the one she turns to, the one she confides in, the one who gets to see the side of her that no one else does, it deepens his connection to her. A woman who makes a man feel like her safe place also gives him a sense of peace in return. She doesn't create unnecessary drama, doesn't constantly test his patience, doesn't make him feel like he has to fight for her respect. Instead, she makes him feel like with her he can let his guard down. The world is full of battles, work, responsibilities, expectations, but with her, he doesn't have to fight. With her, he can simply be. A man who feels like a protector in his relationship will do anything for the woman he loves. He will go to great lengths to make her happy, to keep her safe, to ensure that she never feels alone. He will be more present, more attentive, more engaged, because he knows that his role in her life is valuable. And when a woman understands this, when she embraces it, appreciates it, and nurtures it, she will have a man who is truly devoted to her in every way possible. When a woman gives a man these feelings, when she makes him feel needed, appreciated, respected, and understood, she creates a bond that is unshakable. It's not about control, not about manipulation, and not about playing games. It's about tapping into the deepest parts of his nature, the parts that crave purpose, connection, and devotion. A man who feels truly valued by his woman will move mountains for her. He will cherish her, protect her, and give her the kind of love that is unwavering and undeniable. Because at the end of the day, men don't just love women for how they look or what they bring to the table. They love women who make them feel alive, who inspire them to be their best, who create a space where they can be both strong and vulnerable without fear. A woman who understands this holds a power greater than beauty, greater than charm. She holds the key to a man's heart in a way that no one else ever could.